Hey folks, this is Gray here, and today in this video, we're going to go over 10 things you need to survive a hurricane. Folks, the hurricane season is just around the corner, and what I hope to get out of this video is to help some of you folks get better prepared for situations like these. One thing that I do want to make clear in this video is we're only going over 10 items that you need to survive a hurricane, and there's truly a lot more. After I'm done going over my 10 survival items, folks, can you put down in the comments some of the items that you would add to this list and why? Number one on my list is going to be water, be it a reverse osmosis system, be it if it's a gravity fed system, be it if it's just water that you have stored. Another thing that I want to add to the water category is water filtration. I kind of went over the reverse osmosis system and the gravity fed system, but what if you get a boil water notice alert and you do have access to your water in your home? Things that you might want to think about outside of just boiling water is having access to a good water filtration system that's portable that you can take with you. Something, let's say, like a Grail GeoPress or a Sawyer Mini or a Life Straw or something that you, whatever fits the bill, grab something like that and add it to your hurricane preps. All right, so let's move on to number two, which is going to be non-perishable foods. Non-perishable foods can include things like canned goods. Things like canned beef, canned fruits, and stuff like that. But you can also use vacuum sealed foods. You can also use dried fruits, and peanuts and things of that nature to kind of give you that little bit of a boost of energy. Also, some people like to store freeze-dried foods. Freeze-dried foods, like let's say like your little quick and grab and go mountain house variety kind of stuff. Or maybe you have some nutritional bars by Nutrient Survival, shameless plug there. But some of their peanut butter bars or whatnot, anything that's going to satisfy your need for hunger and nutrition during this emergency. All right, so let's move into number three. I've kind of honed this one into flashlights and batteries, kind of combining the two because you need batteries to run most flashlights unless you have an internal battery, but yada, yada, yada. But having an assortment of flashlights, one for everyone in the house, maybe a few backups, have them stashed in appropriate places because when the lights go out, who knows where everybody's going to be at during the storm. In case anybody is separated in a separate room or whatnot, they have visible light to get them from point A to point B to kind of, have that congregation point where everybody can meet and go over the emergency plan. So having a variety of flashlights, depending if they're the cheap flashlights to the more high-end flashlights, whatever works best for you, just have several different flashlights for that. Also, let's talk about batteries. Batteries is kind of we could go into this long detailed thing about batteries, but having a variety of batteries from hearing aid batteries to AA's, AAA's, D's, C's, rechargeable batteries, and the list goes on, just having a variety of batteries at your disposal for any type of environment. And what I mean by environment is the type of product that you may be using, because there's so many different lights out there that can use a variety of flashlight batteries. You might want to have a variety of a whole encompass them. And what I mean by, hearing aid batteries is because what about if you're in a storm and the power's out for a couple of weeks, you can't get to the store, your battery dies, then you can't hear. So having additional batteries for flashlights and things like that. Number four is going to be a multi-tool. Whatever multi-tool you have, if you have a Gerber, if you have a Leatherman, if you have a generic base multi-tool, whatever, just make sure it's functioning, make sure it's going to do the job. Multi-tools usually have a pair of pliers, wire cutters, a knife, and all. They have like a lot of different things that you can use, can openers, bottle openers, a corkscrew, and the list goes on. So find something that's going to work best for you in regards to a multi-tool. They can do so many different things, especially trying to repair things during the storm, trying to cut things out, if you got wire or paracord or something that you're trying to string up. Whatever the case may be, having a good multi-tool is going to be beneficial to you folks out there in regards to having it in your hurricane preparedness kit. All right, let's move on to number five. Number five to me is just as important as water. All right, it's going to be having a good first aid kit. Now, a lot of people will have Band-Aids and, the kind of owie and boo-boo things around, which is great, but maybe you need, you want to add to that. Maybe you want to have some medicines, specifically any medications that you may be taking. You might want to get an additional couple of weeks supply, if not a 30-day supply, additional before a hurricane starts, because you never know how long this emergency is going to last. Outside of that, you may want to have things like maybe a dental kit. A dental kit could be very beneficial because if you can't get to the dentist because their building has been destroyed, that might be an awesome thing that you might want to add to this first aid kit. I know it goes a little bit beyond there, but having these things when you really, really need them, because there's things out there in a little first aid kit that you might forget to add. Maybe you have a medical pantry and you have rows and rows and rows of stuff that can help you out. What I suggest everyone do outside of a food pantry, you should build a medical pantry because you can think of like antacids and antidiarrheals and headache medicines. And the list goes on, folks. It's just so many things in regards to a first aid kit. And if you want to take it a step above and you have the capabilities and the know how to use the equipment, also maybe using something like a good trauma kit just in case something happens. Because during a storm and the winds are, pushing 100 plus mile an hour winds, you call 911, they're going to say, sorry, we can't get to you at this time because of the fact that there's a hurricane going on. And if it's a life-threatening injury, you need to understand and know how to use the equipment if you do have a stop the bleed trauma kit or whatever that you want to label that as, IFAC, and so on and so forth. So medical is a huge one, coming in at number 5. Number 6, I might get some slack for with number 6, but I'm going to add cell phone and a charger. And maybe you have one of those bricks. That would be optimal. But if you have, let's say, a power station or something like that, or a small, any way to charge that phone will be great. Why do you use a phone when most of the time cell towers will go down? Well, you have a lot of contact information in your phone. So you want to make sure it's powered up and you have power to it. Maybe you want to listen to some music. Maybe you want to play a game to pass the time while you're sitting in the dark if you don't have candles and stuff like that. But just having a cell phone, but I want to take that a little bit further because usually you won't be able to use a cell phone for, so, I mean, in the situations I've been into, cell towers have been out for several couple of weeks at times, and we've had to use alternate forms of communications. So having things like a walkie-talkie that people know how to use, get something simple, let's say some Midlands or some Retevis or whatever it may be. Maybe you have a Baofeng UV5R and everybody's on the same system. Comms are going to be super important. Another thing that I want to add to the comm section is having a emergency radio, be it something that has shortwave on there, AM, FM, and the list kind of goes on with that, so that you can kind of hear what's going on. Any emergency services saying, hey, this is what's going on. These are where shelters are at, because most likely you want access to a TV. So you can see how this encompasses batteries and having batteries for that. But if you have something like a crank radio, even that much better. Like the crank radio that I'm showing you here right now has a crank on it, but it also has a solar panel built into the radio. So it has a lot of redundancies, hence why I like it. And that's going to encompass, to me, cell phones, communications, having ways to charge it, and kind of getting access to news and stuff like that. Hopefully, some of you folks will kind of add that to your hurricane preparedness kit, because maybe you have one or the other, but I think you should have an array of forms of communication, either going out or coming in. Number 7. Now, it might seem weird, but you want to have personal hygiene products. Personal hygiene products, just some soap. Maybe you have some dude wipes or, just baby wipes in general. Portable toothbrush. What I mean by portable is like your travel toothbrush, some toothpaste and stuff like that. Just have that in your kit so that you can use it because you want to stay clean. You know what I mean? Because you're going to be sweating. It's going to be hot, especially if you don't have a generator to run your HVAC system or so on and so forth, a way to cool yourself down. You're going to be doing stuff like removing plywood or adding plywood. There's going to be a lot of things you're going to be doing, and you're going to get very, very dirty, and you don't want to use the water because most likely the water is going to have some sort of boil alert notice, or it just may be tainted. So having that to kind of keep yourself clean in a personal hygiene bubble of things, you kind of want to think about that and just kind of having that stuff readily accessible. Number 8, in a waterproof bag, this is what I'm going to suggest. In a waterproof bag, sealed somehow, you want to have important documents. Maybe you have the deed to your home. Maybe you have your driver's license, insurance records, a will, and all that stuff like that. When a hurricane comes and you get hit directly, what happens if your house floods or gets obliterated? You want to make sure that you have this stuff ready to go. And let's say in a go bag, or, get home bag, as I like to call it, or some people will say a bug out bag, but, in an emergency, a bag that you can grab that you'll have those documents with you in case your house is destroyed. You want to make sure you have all the documentation to prove what is what, who is who, and the list goes on with that. Moving on to number 9 is going to be clothing and sleeping supplies. Maybe you have a favorite blanket for the kids. Maybe you need a change of socks and underwear and stuff like that. You want to keep the same shirt on, but having a change of clothes would be optimal, and a couple pairs of underwears and socks kind of put away in an emergency. Again, possibly in a get-home bag or readily accessible that you can grab and go. Also, sleeping kind of stuff is like let's say if you have a sleeping bag, a sleeping mat, anything that you might need to take with you in regards to an emergency where you're going to be evacuated to a shelter or a place like that. You want to have your own stuff. You don't kind of want to deal with the things that people are going to give you. You don't want to be dependent I know some people may get upset about you don't want to be dependent on the government emergency services. You want to be as dependent on yourself as best as possible. So I rather have my own stuff, be it all my sleeping stuff, hence the toiletries and stuff like that to the previous number in regards to number 7. And so having that kind of all ready to go in an emergency kind of like, you can even build a tote. And I do have a tote. I'm going to do a video in regards to a company that reached out to me that said, hey, you're doing hurricane preparedness. We have a product that you might think that you want to share with your viewers. And I said, sure, send it to me. I'll take it a look and then I'll share it with my viewers and see what their thoughts are. And I'll give my honest opinion on it. But anyways, you can build your own tote with some of the items that I'm going over in this list. So anyways, that kind of covers the clothing and sleeping supplies. Let's move on to number 10. All right, so number 10 is going to be a hodgepodge of miscellaneous items. And I got some things that kind of stood out to me in regards to miscellaneous items. Things like duct tape, having different forms of duct tape, be it if you have 3M duct tape, original duct tape, electrical tape, maybe you have some of the foil tape. And to add to that, we also want to talk about plastic sheeting. Sheeting. Did I get that right? Sheeting. I don't know. Anyways, but plastic sheeting. Maybe you need to tarp up some windows or something like that. Maybe one of the windows got broke. You want to seal it up with some duct tape and some plastic sheeting. So that might be beneficial. Especially most folks down here in Florida have hurricane shutters, but you just never know what's going to happen. And having that stuff already in your home, readily accessible to you, is going to save you the headache of trying to go to a store that's been wiped out of everything from plywood to plastic sheeting to tape to batteries and all that list goes on. So to add to that, I also have local maps. And the reason I wanted to add local maps to this is because maybe you're new to the area and you're unfamiliar about evacuation routes. So knowing your evacuation routes and knowing the area and having a local hand map. Let's say you didn't charge your cell phone, so you need to rely on a paper map. So having a paper map, of course, you can either laminate that paper map or you can possibly put it in a waterproof bag as well, would definitely be beneficial. Now let's talk about fuel. Fuel encompasses a couple of different things. So maybe you have propane, maybe you have a propane stove, maybe you have a propane-based generator, maybe you just have a fuel generator, which goes into also storing gasoline. And when you store gasoline, you want to make sure you do it in appropriate containers and properly, because if you've watched videos, every time a hurricane approaches Florida, people are making drastic mistakes by putting gas in things that are not qualified to put gas in, and bad things happen. So having fuel for your generator and also topping off your car if you know a hurricane approaches. I like to keep my car pretty much always half a tank or higher. I try to keep it in that kind of momentum so that my gas is always on full as best as I possibly can, especially if I see something out brewing already. Because as soon as it gets close to you, the gas stations are going to have lines out the wazoo, and there's not going to be enough time to get your thing done. Gas prices will go up, people will get angry, and bad things happen. So having fuel readily accessible in your vehicle as well as outside your vehicle for generators and things that need fuel. If you have lamp oil, and you can kind of see what encompasses fuel. It's a kind of a big bubble that encompasses a lot, but I'm kind of trying to pack a lot of information into this video. Hence why I'm kind of speaking fast. Surprised I haven't tripped over too many words so far in this video. Also, I want to think about extra cash. Extra cash. Credit cards. You can't go to the ATM if there's no power. You're not the POS systems, as I like to call them, POS. Get what I'm saying? POS systems and any type of register systems, most things are electronic based. You tap, you use your watch, you use your phone. That's all I see all the time. None of that's going to work. So you're going to need to have an extra, not even extra, but just have cash on hand. I'm going to take several $100s, even if you have it, $1,000 in small bills, 20s, 10s, 5s, 1s. And the reason you want to do this is because you don't want to hand someone a $100 bill and they don't have change. So make sure you have a random amount of different types of bills in all denominations. Cash is king in emergencies. All right, so that's going to round out my 10 things you need to survive a hurricane. It was probably a lot more than 10, but I'm hoping to try to pack as much information as I can in this video to help some of you folks because a lot of folks will move to an area that has hurricanes and they get caught off guard and they're unprepared, and then they're put into a situation. It's not only them, it's the people that they care for, like their children and their loved ones and the elderly and so on and so forth, because it can be very, very scary situation for some of those younger folks and the older folks that have never experienced a situation like this before. And I can guarantee you I'm missing some things on this list. I can't go over them because if not, we'll be here for hours. This video is probably going to be long enough. But what I would like for you, the viewers, is if you can do me a favor and what would you add to a hurricane, let's say, preparedness kit if you were going to build one out? And also explain why you would add this kit. Let's say you want to add tea light candles or waterproof matches. These are some of the things that I didn't go over that you could add to a hurricane preparedness kit. So kind of add to this list so that when people are watching this video, they can go down in the comments and interact with some of the other folks out there. So they're not just getting the information from me, they're getting the information from the entire community, because as a whole, as a hive mind, we all have lots of great information to share. So go down in the comments, leave what you would add to this list, or maybe something that you would subtract from this list. And of course, always add some context to why. I love to read the why because it kind of helps me kind of look at some of the things that maybe I've made mistakes on and that I'd like to add to my list as well. Other than that, folks, remember, you are not alone. This is GreyMan. I'm out. I'll see you guys on the rebound. God bless all you amazing folks out there. And again, thank you for taking the time to watch this video.